to another episode of the Proud Skillworker. Today we have an opportunity to talk with Marcus. Marcus is one of the recruiters here at Skillwork. He's been with us for several years now, kind of on the forefront of some of the evolutions of Skillwork as we've kind of changed the process, changed the pace. And Marcus comes to us kind of with a diverse background, collegiate athlete, and just really want to understand more about, Marcus, how you got here, what it's been like to work and recruit in the trades, kind of your biggest challenges, biggest moments. But before we do, tell us a little bit about your story. How'd you come to Omaha, Nebraska and Skillwork?
Oh, man. Yeah. So a little bit about me and kind of how I came here. Grew up in Elkhart, Indiana up until October 2020 is when I got the opportunity to come here and work at Skillwork. So just fully transparently, it's really hard for me to kind of talk about that story without talking about God. So because honestly, I can't take any of the credit in that transition by any means. A little bit about me, like the story is simply put, collegiate athlete, kind of dropped out of that world for one reason or another. Ended up, working different types of production jobs in my hometown. So, I was in kind of the production environment. I wasn't necessarily part of any maintenance crew, which is what we've been specializing in. But I got to see that world pretty intimately. Fortunately, in pontoon boat manufacturing, primarily was one of the few of the spots that I've been into. But yeah, one day, I was just kind of, not necessarily living the best. And, I just prayed. I was like, what, God, just move me where you need me, make me the man you need me to be. And that literal prayer. And then a few weeks later, I got a call from, another one of the senior recruiters here at Skillwork. His name is Cameron, and the Lord really worked through him and presented this opportunity with me. With no real recruiting background, presented the opportunity and just felt it on my heart to move out here to Omaha, and didn't really have anything going for me, but just really dove in nose first, and been pushing ever since. So
yeah. We're truly blessed to have you as part of the team, Marcus. It's been great to kind of watch you grow and develop as a young man and into the man you are now and the husband you are now. But what do you think that transition, right, from Indiana to here, what do you think has been the greatest challenge of your career, your professional career here at Skillwork? What do you think has been the greatest challenge?
Honestly, the greatest challenge, went from a very physical lifestyle to, I still have those dynamics in my life. The whole dynamic of grinding at a desk, it's just a little bit different than working with your hands from, 5 o'clock in the morning till, all hours of the afternoon, and just, kind of taking that from a physical application to a mental application was a big challenge, I would say. Another thing would be, learning a whole new industry, a whole new talk. Just because, I was diving nose first, but, you got to start somewhere. And, I'd say terminology, learning the industry so I understand what I'm talking about, and really being able to empathize with the guys in the field would be another one.
It's huge. So kind of, for those of you who don't know the Skillwork process, candidates apply, they come into the front end of the system, and then Marcus is part of that first gate. So we have a seven or eight gate, depending on how you track Marcus's role. Most recruiters don't consider themselves a gate, but they are. So they're part of an 8-gate kind of proprietary process we have here at Skillwork. But Marcus, I'm curious to know, what is it like recruiting in the skilled trades right now? What's the general feel of the guys and gals you're talking to? What's the general feel of the industry? Do you feel like people are optimistic about the direction things are going, or pessimistic, or concerned about their jobs? What are you generally feeling when you're on the phone with guys trying to get them into the pipeline, into jobs, moving around the country?
Quite frankly, I would say that, a large thing of what I'm feeling and seeing is that increase in demand. Honestly, I think, guys are understanding their value, quite frankly. And just fully transparently, these guys, they understand that these jobs are out there and that their skill set is needed. as a result of probably something that you guys have heard on a lot of our podcasts, which is, that gap. You have all these older gentlemen in these generations just retiring, and not as many newer, younger generational people coming into the trades, and, just providing that demand for, this skill set, in the manufacturing environment, keeping these facilities up and running. I'd say I'm running into a lot of that understanding, with our guys. And, needless to say, they're very optimistic, and, a lot of guys really enjoy this type of work. So optimism.
I love it. So you brought up, they feel in demand, right? They're giving off the persona of understanding how in demand they are. Just from your seat, I'm not asking you for any facts. If you have them, that'd be great, but I don't think so because I didn't prep you very well. So what would you say the average, do you feel like there's been an increase in average hourly pay in the last 2 years, or has it stayed pretty static? Or what do you think that gap has been? So the average hourly pay that you're willing to offer somebody to a job, do you feel like that's gone up? If so, by how much, or down, or kind of what are you seeing on that? Because you said they understand their demand, right? So it should go up. What are you seeing?
Yeah. So I am actually seeing that, not only within the opportunities that we've been having. I would say, the gentleman that would usually be, someone more green would a few years ago actually just be solely looking in like the lower 20s, and totally okay with that hourly pay, meaning. And now it's not outrageous for that same type of gentleman with, 2 years of experience to be requesting, mid to upper 20s. And that's like, pretty realistic range that I think I can put to that question, and, it's relative, of course, no matter where you are on that scale. But, with that demand does come, that price point that, I think companies are realizing that they'll pay as well, just because not only is that demand there, but, another real thing that we got to take into account is that prices for everything is a little more expensive nowadays.
Yeah, it's not getting any cheaper to live anywhere.
Maybe not everything, but
so, Marcus, you talk about giving these people opportunity, right? So, you talked mid 20s to high 20s. That's a $3 to $4 increase on an hourly. If we just take that average,
sure.
For you, that's got to be, kind of an exciting opportunity to be able to present people with offers like that. People who've been with you 2 years, kind of seeing their incremental growth. But what do you think have been your best moments here at Skillwork? What do you think has been the most successful moment that's impacted you and the way you've interacted with candidates or skill workers or clients? What do you think has been top 2 best moments?
Top 2 best moments. I think that reflects in situations in which I actually talk to guys about in real time on the phones, and I wouldn't say they're necessarily one best moments, but best situations. The best situation for me is, pitching the model. Pitching the model and the opportunity that can provide, and then having a guy just fully invested and actually being with us long enough to see it through, right? Because these are contract to contract bases, and there have been multiple situations in which I've a gentleman's literally come on with me and worked as a part of the team that I worked with at, the lower 20s. And then, throughout the course of a year, he's worked a number of contracts, 5 contracts or so, and, got him up into the low 30s an hour with a great housing stipend and per diem. So, when you come on with us, and not just that pay rate, but, skills are coming with that pay increase. And, that is probably the most rewarding situations in which I've come across personally, simply because, I love enabling people to be the best of their ability. And when I see somebody just take a hold of that and, utilize the tools that we strive to give them, it's hard to match that, I think, truthfully.
It's incredibly rewarding. It's an intrinsic reward, right? Being able to value someone who's able to then give back. That's awesome.
Number 2, I would say, just being able to build relationships with these guys. I think that that's honestly something unique that we offer here at Skillwork, is to genuinely be, at the end of the day, it's business, and, things work a certain way, right? But, what's unique about what we've done from what I've seen is that these guys don't only get treated like a number. Like, we have the opportunity in our seats to build a relationship. We're not necessarily holding your hand, but we're helping, these candidates and these employees through the whole entire process. We're working with them is the best way I can put it. And just seeing those things kind of come together, a year, 2, 3 years down the road. And now, you have this guy that you've been working with for years and years, and, there's a relationship there, and that, you guys have a mutual relationship in which is beneficial on both sides.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's important to note, right? We bring on skill workers, and that's what we call our deployed internal teams. So they're on the same benefits, same structures as Marcus and I are here in the office. So I think that's valuable. And they're coworkers of ours. So they're not a separate organization. They're not a separate group of people. They're just deployed across the country to the facilities. And Marcus, you do a good job of really driving that point home. Is this is a relationship. It's just like working with someone in the office. We see them less, but we don't care about them any less. And that may be the status at other locations, but it's not what we generally hear or feel. But it is the status here. I'm going to kind of turn it then. So you see a lot of candidates come to you, right, Marcus? So what do you feel like is the largest barrier, the barrier to entry for people who want to join Skillwork? Where do you feel like you lose the most candidates in the process? Because we talked about it, right? Kind of 7 steps, takes a little bit to get through because how invested we are in people and how much we want to bring people along. What do you think is the largest barrier for people to get through? Where do you lose the most candidates?
Honestly, where I would say I lose the most candidates would be in that same world of the demand. Realistically, we do things very well, in terms of that relational side. A completely candid, point of view on this is that typically takes few more days than traditional. I'm gonna treat you like a number. I'm gonna grab you and just throw you into a field. I think that because we have that, that's a perspective that isn't necessarily 100% understood all the time. So I would say the amount of time that it could possibly take on the front end to make sure that a skilled tradesman is properly worked and that we do right by him or her. That time frame can ultimately, be a huge cause of drop off that I've personally seen as well. Just because people have to work. A lot of these guys and girls are out there. They're looking for work. They need a paycheck at the end of the day. So, but that patience on the front end is very, very worth it.
Yeah. And what kind of encouragement can you give people because the standard skill work process from time of application to the time of getting an interview scheduled is anywhere between 5 and 8 days. So if you're a good fit, if we have those skills, but what could you tell people who are maybe a little anxious, right? Like, what would you tell them? Like, hey, why is it taking 6 days to get me an interview? What's your answer to that? Because you said that's kind of a hesitation you feel. You probably have an answer for it. I'm just curious to know what you would say.
Yeah. No, I come to it at the angle of, hey, we just want to make sure that we're doing right by you, that you are prepped for an interview, because, as we work through the process, they're going through a number of gates like you had, referenced earlier in the conversation, and, we're going through these different gates, and it could feel daunting at times, but I'm just always quick to remind the people that I'm working with, like, hey, we want to make sure that we're doing right by you, because, if we get on a client's desk and we are, in front of one of these potential locations that we're looking at heading out to, and we're not prepped correctly, then, those past 7 gates just totally don't matter at all. So, and then, just coming at it from a very rational point of view and reiterating the process and the why behind what we're doing.
I love it. So Marcus, this is my favorite part of the podcast, right? So every guest that we've had, whether, we've had some internal recruiters on and we're trying to do a little segment on recruiting the trades. we've had some technicians on, and we're doing like the skills of maintenance and truly understanding it. But I'm going to turn it over to you because what I want to do is set the stage, right? So you have every maintenance technician in the world listening to a message that you're about to present to them. You get 3 to 5 minutes to say a message that you wish everybody could hear. After you get off a call with somebody, I know you're always like, man, I wish they just understood this, or I wish that they would have heard this. What's the message you want every maintenance technician to hear about their career, about how to move forward, about how to better themselves, whatever it is? What do you wish you could say to everybody in the maintenance field?
Work with us because we're the best. But I might be just a little bit biased, but realistically, this company personally has done a ton for me. And, you see the care that we put to every single situation, and obviously nobody's perfect. There's going to be misses potentially. But at the same time, you see it reflected in the care that we put forth. And, if you truly stick through it, our core values, our honor to God in everything we do, respect back to the trades, and our success is based on the amount of people we help, framework. And at the end of the day, what I want everyone to hear is it's worth it to go through that front end. And, if you just take a little bit more time, look at it as an investment, if you have the skill set in that skilled trades, it's never even necessarily a no. It's a later. Just stay in touch. Keep our people's number, because we are going to continue to walk forward and expand and have some fantastic opportunities for growth. And, not only in the, further education, as we're pursuing with, certification programs outside of, just hands-on experience in a factory, real paper certifications that you can put to the work you've done. And, so there's just a ton of investment, even if it's just, hey, I'm gonna keep your number.
I love it. I think you're right. Skillwork cares. Like, that's kind of the ultimate value, right? Is we care about your professional relationships. We care about your personal relationships. We care about your growth, and we care about your connection to your community. We care about those things. So, Marcus, it was a shameless plug at the beginning, and I loved it. But work with us. I guess that's a great start. A huge thank you, Marcus, for being on the show. I know this isn't necessarily part of the Skillwork job description, but it's great to have you on here, really talking to the individuals in the industry, really speaking out. If anybody has questions for Marcus about how to get a hold of him, if you want to work with him, see what jobs he has available, we'll post his contact information in the description below. And then please feel free to leave a comment or reach out. We'd love to have you on the show. We'd love to answer any questions you might have. Thank you all so much for listening, and have a wonderful day.